Have you heard about the plane that vanished twice? Yeah. In March 2014, a modern jet carrying 239 people disappeared from the skies. Despite one of the largest search operations in history, the plane was never found in full. But the mystery of Flight MH370 only grew stranger with every clue and every dead end. What really happened to MH370? Let's find out. First of all, let's have a look at how this story started. On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 left Kuala Lumpur just after midnight, bound for Beijing. Weather was clear. The Boeing 777 was one of the safest aircraft in the world, and nothing seemed unusual. The plane flew past its first checkpoint, then second, third. And by 1:19 a.m., it had reached its fourth checkpoint. Then communication stopped. At 1:22 a.m., the plane's transponder went dark. Air traffic control tried calling the pilots but got no response. Then they noticed something chilling. Instead of continuing to Beijing, the aircraft turned sharply off course, flying back across Malaysia and out into the open ocean. As dawn broke, Malaysia declared the flight missing. A massive search effort began, involving dozens of military aircraft, ships, and 40,000 volunteers on the ground. But the stakes were high and the mission daunting. Where do you even begin to search for a missing plane? And so the hunt for MH370 took an unexpected turn as investigators analyzed satellite data. They discovered a series of automated pings between the plane and a satellite. But it wasn't like air traffic control. These pings, known as handshakes, are routine. But they contained a secret. Analysts traced them to a remote patch of the southern Indian Ocean. It was the first concrete lead in the search. And while no wreckage was found at the site, the ocean is vast and this was just the start. With no wreckage and no leads, investigators searched the area again and again, each time coming up empty. More than a month had passed since the disappearance. And in the absence of answers, theories abounded. Was MH370 lost to bad weather? Sabotage, mechanical failure, hijacking? All these theories seemed plausible, but none could explain the full story. Then came a breakthrough. In July 2015, more than a year since the disappearance, pieces of debris washed ashore on the tiny island of Reunion. They were part of a wing, a flaperon, and other small pieces. Experts from France and Australia confirmed they matched MH370. It was the first physical evidence of the crash. And with that, a new focus for the search. But the discovery also raised disturbing questions. How could this wreckage have survived for so long? Why was it found so far from the supposed crash site? And why did it take so long to find? And then there were the objects themselves. They offered few clues to the cause of the crash, but pointed towards a grim possibility. If these pieces were found so far away from the plane's last known location, what if the plane itself was even further away? As the search continued, more pieces of the puzzle emerged. In late 2015, a fisherman in the Indian state of Kerala spotted a life buoy inside a floating object. Life buoys are usually attached to the emergency exits on the outside of the plane. Their presence suggested the doors had been opened mid-flight, suggesting an evacuation. But if the plane had been evacuating, why hadn't anyone been found? Fast forward to 2016, another piece of debris was found on Mauritius, a strange component called a sarsac. It's usually found on the inside of the plane and helps balance the airflow during landing. Its presence raised two questions. How did it survive the crash? And how did it get to Mauritius? Could it be that the plane had broken apart in midair, explaining some of the gaps in the evidence? In 2018, however, a study cast doubt on this theory. By analyzing similar components from other planes, experts concluded that such parts don't survive a catastrophic breakup. So, where did the surface come from? To date, this remains a mystery. But the oddities don't stop there. Consider the satellite data. You see, the same satellite that detected MH370's handshakes also picked up another signal just hours later. It appeared to be coming from the same plane. But how could the plane be sending signals when it should have been crashed? Did someone turn off the plane's transponder and crash it? If not, how did the plane stay in the air? Then there are the maps. When investigators examined the plane's inner workings, they found two maps, one detailing a flight path over the Indian Ocean, the other showing a route over Central Asia. Which one was the pilot planning to fly? Was it deliberate sabotage or a tragic mistake? And then we get to the cargo manifest. When a plane goes missing, authorities check the cargo manifest for clues. What was the plane carrying? Was it food, medicine, electronics? What could have caused whoever was tracking the plane to target it? Unfortunately, the cargo manifest for MH370 is a dead end. It was filled with everyday items, mostly ordinary passenger goods. There was nothing unusual, nothing that would have made the plane a target, and nothing that could help investigators track its final resting place. And then there's the captain. He stands at the center of one of the most popular theories about MH370. His name was Zahari Ahmad Shah. And when investigators dug deeper into his background, they uncovered some troubling details. For starters, he was an avid flyer with thousands of hours in the air. He trained in simulators. He knew his way around a cockpit, and he had access to one in his home. But what's most shocking is what they found on his computer. Investigators discovered unusual flight simulator routes leading into the Indian Ocean. They were similar to the route MH370 actually took, which suggests that Captain Zahari may have deliberately programmed them in. Could he have been planning something sinister? Well, it's possible. But there are problems with this theory too. For example, investigators found no evidence of a struggle in the cockpit. If the captain had taken the plane off course, why didn't the co-pilot intervene? Other theories point to mechanical or fire failure. Maybe something disabled the crew. Some believe a fire or sudden loss of oxygen disabled the crew, leaving the jet flying on autopilot until it ran out of fuel. This could explain the ghostly silence after the plane's systems shut down. But where did the fire or gas leak come from? There's no record of any malfunctions before takeoff. And even if there was, wouldn't the pilots have smelled smoke? Still others suspect hijacking. Perhaps terrorists had seized the plane and diverted its course. But no group ever claimed responsibility, and with no demands, no evidence, and no wreckage, this remains unlikely. So given all these unanswered questions, all roads lead to one thing: the unknown. The truth is the investigation has hit a wall. Every lead seems to end in a dead end. Every theory raises more questions than it answers. And without new evidence, MH370 may never be solved. This is especially frustrating because, unlike most missing planes, not a single body has been found, not one piece of luggage, not a single scrap of fabric. The only evidence of the crash is a handful of scattered parts, all of which were found on distant shores thousands of kilometers from the supposed crash site. And that adds another layer of confusion to the already tangled web of clues. How can a plane carrying almost 240 people simply vanish without a trace? Where are the bodies? Why did it take so long to find the wreckage? And why are key pieces missing? The worst part, there may never be a definitive answer. We may never know exactly what happened to MH370. And yet, despite the lack of answers, the search continues. The families of the victims remain hopeful. They deserve answers. They deserve closure. And maybe, just maybe, one day they'll get it. Because as long as the ocean keeps giving up its secrets, there is hope that flight MH370 will finally be solved. But until then, the mystery lives on, haunting us with what might have been. Have you watched our video on the Dyatlov Pass incident yet? Check it out now. See you tomorrow.